Thank you very, very much. You did such a good job of summarizing everything. You'll make my part easier and more succinct. First, thank all of you. I want to thank all of you for coming. I want to thank all of our members. We appreciate it very much. What I'm going to try to do is just go through a few points and highlights of the study. For those of you that want a copy, the PowerPoint is on a table to your left over there, to your right, depending on the section. And I just would like to try and elaborate a little bit on how we can come to some of the conclusions that we have using what's called a modified input-output model. I promise not to get too academic or geeky or those kinds of things, but try and explain basically why small firms might lose jobs even if they're exempt from a given mandate or proposed mandate. First, let's start with the job loss and explain why small firms might lose 20% of the approximate 75,000 jobs. If you look in your folders, or even if you don't have them with you, you'll see generally that the model assumptions impose no costs on employers with under 25 employees. Why? Because they're exempt. But yet they lose jobs. How could that be? Well, let's try and understand what happens when large firms have a mandate imposed upon them. They've got to do something to absorb the costs. So they generally will either raise prices, which is increasingly difficult in this environment, or they'll cut back. Who do they cut back from? Small business suppliers. What happens when small business suppliers have cutbacks? They can only absorb them if they're making a profit. If they're not making a profit, they either have to cut overtime, furlough workers, lay off workers, or do one of those, in many cases, the following kinds of things. Something else. The modeling does not assume any temporary workers to make up for people who will be taking up to 7 days of sick leave, nor does it assume that they'll be forced overtime. So the assumptions that were made were very, very conservative. Sick leave costs approximately 1% of employee compensation. That comes straight from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. There's a little bit of variance by industry, but not much. Back to the job loss. So small firms are cut back by large firms. They in turn cut back workers and they lose jobs. This is called a multiplier. An input-output model looks at effects in different industries. The biggest impacts will be in food services, labor-intensive industries. Some of them are in big business. The Marriotts of the world, the hotels, even hospitals. It's kind of interesting. You impose a mandate, think about it, on businesses in the healthcare industry, and you end up losing jobs in healthcare in some cases. Other cases, parts of the healthcare sector, because people will spend some of the money in theory that they're given for legitimate sick leave. Some jobs in healthcare, in fact, will be created.